Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How are we getting on? Welcome to a brand new 76 video. So, little bit of an interesting one here, second one for the day. We're looking at a small bit of news from the current PTS patch notes, I suppose we'd call them. Obviously, PTS has just opened. The really big thing is the building. I'll be jumping into that soon, but it's going to take a little bit more work to get me there, so bear with. But there's a little thing related to the combat rebalance that is worth noting, because it's a really good example of Bethesda not only listening to the player base and responding, but also doing it pretty darn quick, to be fair. So that's cool. There's some extra bits and pieces we could talk about as well, but I think we'll focus on this one thing for now. So, last week we had the first round of notes on the combat changes that are going to be in the September update, or at least once they've had the wrinkles shaken out of them over the course of the PTS anyway. And one of the big things that leapt out for quite a few people and received quite a bit of online commentary was the change to the light machine gun. It sits in a weird place in the game, that one, as it's not really effective as an end-game boss-slaying heavy weapon thing, or at least it wouldn't be your first go-to. And it's not really a main driver AR type thing either, or, run and gun type thing. Although that's kind of where it lives in a weird way, but mostly because it's only got iron sights on it. So yeah, it's a bit an odd one, but it can be quite fun. It can absolutely shred with the right mods on it, so there is that. And it's always been a 308 ammo type on that one. Probably not technically the correct one, but it's the big rifle cartridge that we have in the game, the big one, So it made sense for it to use that. However, with the notes last week, Bethesda said they were going to change it to a 45, which is pretty much, or certainly one of, the most commonly dropped ammo types. And that's kind of the thing. The way the contextual ammo drops work in the game sort of reflect the type of weapon that the ammunition is used by. So with 308, you're getting small numbers in the contextual ammo drops because it's assumed to be a single shot, maybe at a pinch semi-automatic, but mostly single shot rifle ammo type. So you really don't need many of them, but when you've got this ridiculously fast-firing weapon that also uses it, it's just not getting enough. So that's basically, I think, the motivation behind switching it to something that drops a lot more, or in a lot larger quantities. However, a lot of people are not into that. It doesn't really reflect the nature of the gun. The people who do actually use this had stockpiled 308, so they were a bit disappointed. People are just generally not into it. So, what Bethesda have done is come along and very rapidly introduced a whole bunch of changes on that, so sort of reflect what people want out of it a bit more, and frankly give us a whole bunch of extra options, which is quite cool. So, let's have a look at this. Okay, jumping over to the patch notes, as I say, we'll go into the rest of it related to building later, in a later video, when I've had time to really sink my teeth into it. But, to go along with the start of the PTS, the team wanted to make the further adjustment to LMGs based on the conversations we've seen. Yeah, player feedback in short. We're increasing the base damage of LMGs and introducing a way for you to craft 5.56, 308 or .45 receivers on the weapon so that you can pick the ammo the weapon uses based on your needs. So, yeah, you will have the choice of what kind of ammo you want it to use, and of course therefore its general use case. So, LMG base damage has been changed from 37 to 42. I think there was some error in there. I'm not sure if they accidentally nerfed it or were going to accidentally nerf it, or if they just changed the whole plan. Either way, it's a change, so the base damage will go up compared to what they were saying they were going to change it to. Not quite sure where it sits now. And LMGs found in the world will by default use the new standard receiver, which means the weapon will be using 5.56 ammo. So still a little bit smaller than would normally be the case for this particular weapon, but it'll drop at a rate that reflects its use case more. So basically you'll have more ammo for it, without it coming all the way down to the 45. However, you can craft a 308 receiver for it, and that will give you more damage at the cost of slowing down the rate of fire. Or you can craft a 45 receiver for it and give you a higher rate of fire at a cost of lower damage. Take your pick. And of course the ammo drops, as previously mentioned, will reflect the way that works anyway. So they don't really change much to make that the case. Prime versions of these receivers can be obtained from their standard locations. Don't know what the heck that means by their standard locations. Presumably wherever prime receivers generally drop from, so Scorch Beasts and stuff in there, Cranberry Bog or something, I guess. That's a little weird and vague. Not quite sure what's going on there myself. Anyway, they are available. Possibly dropped from Scorched Beast Queen and those world bosses, maybe. These changes will not affect your currently owned weapons. If you already have a 308 receiver on there, it will remain 308 and won't change when you log in. If you wanted to change, you can take it to a weapons workbench and change it yourself. Although you may or may not have to break a bunch of them down to learn the plan. I don't know. That wouldn't surprise me. Doesn't specify really, does it? There is a known issue at the moment, and that is that dynamic naming on these with different receiver mods has not yet been set up, so it will read as an LMG or a Prime 1 depending on the mods. So yeah, basically it won't give a full reflection of the mods on there in its name in the way that they normally do. But they'll be addressing it, there you go, before the updates release. So over the course of the public test server in the next, 2 and a bit months. So, yeah. That's pretty cool. Really pleased to see Bethesda responding quite rapidly to that. I like this in the sense that it makes the LMG a more viable additional option. I really need to look into the assault rifle as well. That thing sits in a weird place as well. It's not really... It's not as good as a handmade. It's definitely not as good as a fixer. It's overly heavy, it's too slow, it doesn't have the damage to offset it, the numbers are just all over the place. And they have done some work, I think, in recent patches on that, so I don't quite know how it feels compared to the other options in the 5.56 range, but this adds a more viable addition with the LMG for a lot of people, I think, so it's quite a cool little touch. But anyway, hope that was useful for you and interesting, and you enjoyed that little update. As I say, I'll dive into the building stuff very, very soon, although that's going to take a bit more doing because it's a bigger topic. So, yeah, looking forward to that. Based on a quick cursory read of the patch notes, I am cautiously optimistic. So we'll have to see how if the reality matches the notes. But that one will be coming in the next few days, so keep an eye out for that one. In the meantime, like, subs, notification bell, all that good stuff, and then you know what's happening. Social media links in the description. That's probably a more reliable way to get updates on my uploads, because... YouTube are not the most reliable at that. And if you really want to support the channel, I massively appreciate it. We've got the join button down below for channel memberships as well, and that massively helps out. So huge thanks to everyone who's done that. And of course, live streams as well, which we'll be picking up again fairly promptly. I know they've been a bit all over the place this week. Some of it's been temperature, some of it's been me being busy and or knackered. So yeah, we'll get back onto that one. But yeah, join us for those if you get a chance as well. Usually weekday evenings. So thank you very much for watching. I look forward to speaking to you all very, very soon.